Why do we actually fall in love? And how do you do it the right way? I'm going to tell you. But to begin this kind of a journey, you have to understand that attraction and love are very complex things that are heavily influenced by biology, psychology, and social factors. And the better you understand these things and how they work, makes you so much better at giving yourself a chance at finding the healthiest, most harmonious love with the right person. Keyword, right person. So the first place to start is the biology and the chemistry, right? Understanding the neurotransmitters and the hormones inside of us that really contributes to attraction and love, being, dopamine, the body's natural drug, right? The thing that makes you crave someone. Oxytocin, the love hormone, the thing that makes you want to really connect. And even adrenaline, the thing that gets you ramped up to go, right? Because it's all these hormones that really creates that sense of euphoria that you feel whenever you're in that honeymoon phase, right? And, everything's rainbows and gumdrops, or the rose colored goggles phase that people talk about. The bonding that you get to where you attach and latch on and want to just be with that person and spend all your time with them. And even the sense of excitement, right? To where you get all giddy and those butterflies and you're all worked up and you're motivated to go and do more and more of what you're doing to connect with this person even more. Now, I'm telling you this because you have to understand, just like these are hormones, they're chemical balances, right? Actions and reactions, right? You can't 100% control these chemical balances, but you can heavily influence them to stimulate them, right? And so the pro tip in it, if you will, is understanding that these hormones are most motivated by positive interactions. The more positive the experience can be, the more gratifying it is, and the more pleasant of memories it creates, is the more it starts to activate these bonding hormones. This is why it's so important whenever you're going through the dating phase, first, that you're enjoying it, right? If you're going on dates and so forth, you should be enjoying the process. Yes, you have to learn things about the other person. Yes, you need to vet them and all the stuff, right? To make sure that you're investing into the right person. But the most important thing is enjoy the process first. Enjoy the experience first, right? Don't go on dates that you wouldn't want to go on, right? Things that you wouldn't enjoy or things you don't want to do, right? That's why you always have to stay true to what aligns with you, that aligns with the other person, so that it creates more of that harmonious experience, right? So fun activities, and that could be a multitude of things. When I say fun activities, it doesn't have to mean that you're going to go do something extremely active or athletic or whatever fun activities looks like to you, that hopefully it's the same or similar interest as the person that you're dating. That's what you're gunning for. Because the more you can create those consistently and repetitively, that starts becoming a foundation for that oxytocin, that adrenaline, and and for that dopamine to kick in, to where it starts to add to the equation, where your bonding starts to become a lot more organic and effective. But notice I said you both have to find it fun in these experiences, these fun activities, right? This is how you keep that bonding that you're building authentic, to where, the other person not just trying to play a role or do the stuff that, they think the other person likes because they want to get in good with them so they can maybe use them or get something out of them, right? If someone's coming from an unhealthy place like that, right? The bonding won't be real. And so if you're really dialing in and you're really enjoying the experience, you should be able to identify in the other person that they're actually having a similar experience, to where it's a true connection you're feeling, not a fictitious one. Now let's move into the psychological aspects as to how love and attraction works, right? See, psychologically, we as humans tend to be drawn towards people that have similar interests, right? Similar values, similar goals, right? Because it instinctually says, hey, you get me on some level, right? We find relatability. And as humans, we're tribal by nature. We're always looking for, where do we fit in? Where's our people? Where's my person, right? And you feel that most when you feel like, oh, I have so much in common with this person. And people call that chemistry, right? And it's one of the most natural ways that we see someone as a potential to be with, because we see some of ourselves inside of that person. But it doesn't stop there. What adds on to that is, in addition to having things in common and similarities, we also get attached or find a lot of value in someone that has complementary strengths or traits to our own. Meaning, this is what it means when they say opposites attract, right? It's not so much that opposites attract, right? It's that when you see someone that has traits that you carry that are maybe more dormant in you, you don't exercise them as much, but they do. Like it's like in the forefront for them. We subconsciously recognize this as someone that can balance out the rest of our pie, our puzzle. They can complete the rest of the circle, right? Because you can see someone having a trait or a characteristic or a quality that you don't possess or that is not kind of your thing and not be attracted to them at all because maybe that characteristic or trait does nothing for you. But we tend to be drawn to the opposite, right? In someone that has a characteristic or a trait or a strength that we admire because we would want to have it as well, meaning we possess the foundation of that thing, but we haven't necessarily figured out or put the work into nurturing that trait to where it could be as strong and as present as we would like to see it in ourselves. So we find it admirable in the other person. So if you have similarities first and you guys are in the same trail of thought and, goals and interests and values and so forth, but then on top of that, you see some great strengths in them that could benefit your life, right? Not saying you're trying to think in some opportunistic way. No, I mean, like you see, wow, you admire them for these characteristics because you wish you could be more like that. Then it makes them more attractive to you, because that's something you want to have in your life because it's something you wish that you built for yourself. So you see yourself being able to grow with them. Now, you're probably not consciously thinking this. Maybe some of you are, but it's definitely a subconscious thing to where it makes that person more appealing to you. This is why it's so crucial to find partners that align with your core values, but also bring complementary strengths to the relationship, because it creates an amazing space of balance between the two of you, right? Where you complement each other, but you're still aligned on the core things that matter most to make sure you can stay together for the long haul. And it really sets the foundation for mutual growth. That is the way that you're going to be able to always inspire each other and always pour into each other and see the other person as, man, that, priceless person in your life, because they add a piece to your equation that without them, you would notice the lack thereof, right? Not saying you can't survive without that lack thereof, but it's a huge addition to your life with them there, with their strengths they bring to the table that aren't as naturally strong in you. And I want to make sure I add this in there. Make sure you have complementary strengths to them as well. Now, if they're continuing to entertain you and you guys are starting to get close, then they probably already see those complementary strengths, even if you haven't become aware of what you provide to their life in that regard, right? But have the self-awareness to recognize where you guys are similar, but then you see where they contribute to your life in a way that you don't usually have, that you really like. But then also asking yourself, well, what am I bringing to their equation that's a complementary strength to them, right? To where I know we will be mutually supporting each other's growth as time goes on. That's a very important thing to make sure you're being aware of. And then that leads us into the oxytocin hormone, right? That love hormone. How do you deepen it? How do you strengthen that? How do you kick more of that on, that chemical on? Because that's the one, right? That's the glue piece that's going to keep you dialed in with the other person, especially through the difficult and hard times. Well, that happens most the more regular you make it of having shared vulnerable moments, shared vulnerabilities. The more you guys can connect through being open with each other about things, the most, private things or the most intimate things about yourselves, the more you put the reps in to share these things, is the more you then start to create a foundation of trust, which leads to engaging more in open communication where you can be transparent, be yourselves, right? Living your truth. And there's nothing better than being able to be yourself on 100 with the other person across from you. It makes them invaluable to you because, it's not so often that we can feel 100% comfort to be ourselves in the face or the eyes of other people, right? Even though we should be regardless, but it still can be awkward and not feel right or feel off or weird. So it's everything when you have someone that sees all of you and it's okay to be all of you, right? And these are the biggest components that leads to a secure attachment, which deepens that love because we love to feel secure, right? As humans, Maintaining, homeostasis, balance is everything to us. And you can't have that if you're not feeling safe and reassured and secure in your situation. And especially with the person that you sleep next to every night, right? So the best way you're going to foster this is you have to practice active listening, right? Truly letting your partner be heard and making sure they know you understand them and get them through what you say back to them and what you gather from what they said. And also expressing and sharing your feelings, right? You have to open up and do the same. You want them to open themselves up. You have to model it first, right? Be the example. Both of you should be fighting to be the better example, to where you both inspire each other every day in and every day out, right? And then you always encourage your partner to do the same verbally. You encourage them most by you showing up and doing the thing, right? Being that person, but then verbalize to them, hey, give them the encouragement, inspire them to do the same thing, root them on, right? You have to set a foundation in an environment to where it's attractive and it is the cool thing to do to be vulnerable, right? To connect, to trust, to be yourself. Make it something that is a pleasant thing to do, or become something you both look forward to doing, versus something that seems like, oh geez, that cringeworthy thing that you think about every time you talk about connecting or talking about deeper conversations or talking through your emotions or even issues or whatever, right? Because look, the more you get better at being vulnerable and being able to express yourself and also truly listening to your partner without interrupting them and all those things, the more it makes working through conflict situations a lot more manageable. It doesn't seem as bad whenever, I had the confidence that I'm going into this conversation that doesn't feel good to have, and I don't necessarily want to have it, but I feel good that knowing when I go to have it, it's not going to be, pins and needles, because my partner embraces when I speak and lets me be heard, and I can express my feelings, and it matters to them, and what they say matters to me. And I know we're coming here seeking love at the end of it, not to come in and fight each other. The next bonding agent is the power of positive reinforcement. Consistent acts of kindness, support, and appreciation are literally fundamental pieces that stimulates attraction and satisfaction in a relationship. And if we want to get back to the chemical side of it, the hormones of it, right? It kicks on that dopamine chemical so much, right? That hormone gets firing off whenever you are feeling supported, whenever you are, feeling like your partner treats you special and nice and like they care about you in that way, right? When they're thoughtful and all these things, and it makes that person something you want to keep having in your life. It makes them like a drug to you, because why would you not want to go back to someone or a source that you feel so loved from, you feel so warm from, you feel so good. It just elevates and lights your life up, and it does so much for you, right? That is such a crucial thing, because it adds to those positive experiences I was talking about in the beginning, right? It adds to that experience of when you think of your partner, you think of something that feels good. It brings a warmness to you. It brings a light or a vibrance to you, versus when you think about them, it's like a dark cloud, or, it makes you feel tense, right? Or stressed, or a weight on your chest, right? They feel like freeing. They feel like the release. They feel like your peace. That's something that will absolutely activate that dopamine hormone, as well as the oxytocin one, right? It gets them all going. And heck, it may even stimulate that adrenaline, right? To get you all excited, right? All bonding agents built around positive experiences that you tie directly to your partner. This is why it's imperative that you express regular gratitude towards your partner, right? Celebrate the small moments with them and offer emotional support when they need it most, right? These things are what really creates that positive reinforced cycle, right, of experiences that becomes the norm of your relationship and becomes the fabric that your partner leans on when they're determining or thinking through things whenever the situation is going on between them and you, right? Maybe there is a disagreement or some mishap. It's the thing that allows them to still see you as the person that loves them, and not dilute their thoughts and start saying, oh, they don't care about me and everything else. And they become defensive and start treating you like an opponent versus their partner that you guys are just trying to work through a roadblock right now. So you can do it together versus working against each other. And the last piece that really keeps your love bonded together so it can last a lifetime, right, is when couples consciously work on self-awareness, right, empathy, and conflict resolution skills. When you are intentional about these three areas, being aware of your role in the relationship, how you're showing up, how you're not showing up, right? All those things, when both of you are doing this, can't just be one. And then you have empathy for the other person, for maybe their shortcomings, when they drop the ball, right? And they have it for you, to where you can offer grace to the growth things or the mistakes or missteps that your partner needs to be accountable for, and your partner is willing to be accountable for it. And then you have a solution based focus when it comes to disagreements, and you actually put time into saying, well, how do we handle disagreements, right? Whenever you're not in the middle of a disagreement, have a game plan for it, right? To where you're more effective whenever issues come up or arise. You can have a more confident way of going about working through them instead of trying to figure it out on the fly. And especially if you haven't been being self-aware already or not being empathetic to the other person, no plan is going to work for that conflict resolution. But when you do all three, oh my, it makes you so much more effective at sustaining that amazing love that you built way back in the beginning. But when you don't have these things consciously in the front of your mind, don't have the practice worked into your system, then now all hell can break loose when you really don't want it to, right? And I'm saying this because we all think, oh, I'm good because we go out in the world and we have friends and things, and we navigate those relationships pretty well. But understand, whenever you have friendships or even with certain family members, that bond and that the intimacy of the connect and how integrated into each other's lives you are is nowhere near as close and woven in as it is with you and your partner. That's a different level. So if you're not as intentional about getting clear on, all right, how self-aware am I being? How empathetic am I being towards them, offering grace? And then what have we done actually tangibly or verbally to actually discuss how we're going to handle disagreements? Then you're setting yourself up to fail, right? I think, how's the saying go? Those that fail to plan to fail, right? That's exactly what you wind up doing to yourself. And I don't want you to do that to yourself in any situation, and let alone with the love of your life. So if you need help learning how to actually mold yourself to be able to identify and connect and build the healthiest foundation of a long-lasting love with the right person for you, and then learn how to sustain it from here going throughout into the future, then email or DM me the word coaching, and we'll get to work as long as you truly are ready to put the work in. If you're not ready for one-on-one coaching, don't have the time or the space for it, email or DM me the word revival to join my Relationship Revival Hub community, where you can learn the same things I teach my clients one-on-one at your own pace on your own time. Either way, do something to get in the race. Let's get it.